There is one thing to have matters of the mind, but when you have matters of the heart, it can be very destructive for your life. We talked last week with Jeremy Lewis about heartbreak and how that had setbacks in his life, but how he was able to turn that past into a more powerful present. Here's part 2 of that series right after this. What is mindset? Our mindset is based on what we believe, and anything we believe in, we put into motion. I have spent my life putting the mindset of perseverance into motion, and now I am here today to share my journey along with others whose mindsets have changed the course of their lives. Hi, I'm mindset coach Lorraine Lindsey, and I believe that if you can change your mind, you have the power to change your life. So are you ready? Welcome back to another episode of The Mindsetters, where we believe that if you can change your mind, you have the power to change your life. We are continuing a 2-part series of how heartbreak can be damaging, how it can set you back emotionally in your work and everything. And we have a guest here who is a well-known realtor in the local Las Vegas area. He has blown his name up, has become an influencer on social media, and has used that to leverage his business. But he talked with us last week about how his heartache and being in love and being heartbroken and going through a tumultuous relationship created some adversity in his business and in his life. And in part 2, we are going to talk a little bit more about how he was able to come to terms with certain things and turn that into something he used for leverage to move forward in his life. So I want to welcome back Jeremy Lewis.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming back to talk about part 2. We didn't have enough time to really...
No, we didn't.
Tap into the now. We talked a lot about what was happening to you and what had happened in the past. You had shared with us that you were in a relationship with someone, which both of you loved each other very dearly.
Yes.
But you were at very down times in your life, or you was specifically, and the union of that relationship was at that time in your life. And so if you kind of want to recap it a little bit.
It wasn't really... if I'm being accurate and objective as possible, it wasn't really a downtime. It was just bad timing because I was in an unknown, somewhat down place, and I had to kind of rebuild my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And she was at the same place, and we're kind of like, oh yeah, you're the problem. You're the problem. You know, we're mirror reflections of where we were at the exact same place in life, and that didn't bode well of us dealing with our shit together because. Yeah, it was just, it didn't allow that, basically.
Right.
I think that was actually, I'm glad you kind of phrased it like that, is the timing was bad and it didn't allow like either person to deal with what they need to deal as an individual.
Right.
In order, then if we did and the timing was right, then I don't think there would have been an
issue.
I really believe that.
Or maybe even a connection, right? Because I've learned this from my own personal experiences too, is that we attracts like. And so wherever we're at emotionally in our lives, whether we understand that that's where we are or whatever, there's these voids that we get that we need filled. And sometimes when we're not doing our own personal work and really acknowledging that healing that we need and giving ourselves the time and space to do that, we get into these tumultuous relationships because they're kind of filling those voids.
Right.
And usually we're emotionally feeling the exact same thing. It's just being expressed differently. And so
1,000% true in my case, the way you put it.
And I've learned in my life too that when I've done the work and done the healing, done the understanding of who I am and where I am today, some of those people that, whether they're friendships, relationships, business ventures, some of those things I wouldn't even be attracted to or be interested in because I'm in a different frame of mind. So let's talk a little bit about you, because we kind of emphasize what happened over the last 15 months of your life.
Yeah.
When that relationship kind of finally, when its longest period with where it was just kind of done. Because you guys were kind of on and off again for a period of time.
Yeah, for 6.5 years.
And this time it was like, it's off. It's off for a long time. And now I've got to move forward with my life. So how did you come to those terms? And you've alluded a little bit to it last episode, but I want to kind of refresh for those who didn't get to watch it.
Well, I didn't at first. It was the same, the same cycle on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized that instead of like fully participating in that again, that I was just going to I was not happy. And it wasn't my fault. And it was actually her fault. She was unhappy. too. And so I was like, I just need to stay away as much, use whatever I can do to stay away, because it's what's actually best for me. And I never believed that before. I think she did, but like I was always, the leader in the relationship, as I feel like I said, I believe in gender rules and I feel like a man should be and set the tone. But that's what I took away from, is that she was right, that for whatever reasons, it's not anyone even to blame, is that I need to do my own thing and I need to stay away and not bring it back together it would just cause more pain and suffering.
Yeah, for sure.
And I didn't want to hear that shit for almost 7 years.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I don't care. I love her. It doesn't matter. I'll figure out a way. I always fix problems and find solutions. That's how I'm built. And like, I had to come to terms with my, my psyche, my ego, or whatever you want to call it, to be like, I can't fucking fix this. At least not on my own.
Right.
And I didn't like that at all.
When you say fix this, you're referring to what?
The relationship.
Right.
Make the relationship work. I was like, I've tried everything I could possibly imagine. I was in denial. I was like, no, if I just try harder, because that works for everything else in my life, or at least my experience, my opinion.
Right.
Instead of thinking negative and think, oh, it can't, or it's too much, damn, whatever the cliche or whatever it is, I think that I still do think that in almost every instance is for a weak-minded person to make excuses for themselves. But that was actually something I had to be like, well, I can't do anything else. There's nothing more. And no matter what I'm doing, it's not working.
Right.
And so I have to fucking,
well, do you
I
think
have to quit,
that,
and that's not really in my vocabulary.
And let me ask you this. Did you feel like it was as though you were doing everything in your capacity for everything outside of self?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm pouring into this, but were you equally as pouring into yourself, of saying, well, why is this something that I'm accepting?
Yeah, the truth is, that's why, another reason why it wouldn't work, because I had to give everything I had to just keep things afloat. And that's why I was miserable, because I felt like shit, because I could do nothing for myself. It was all to make her happy, or my attempt at least. And my business was suffering because I cared about her and the relationship more than anything, including myself, and everything was fucking treading water.
So why do you think that was for you? Where do you think you were in your state of mind, your frame of mind, that everything was more important than your own well-being? What was the belief that you had at that time in your life that you deemed that tolerable for yourself?
Well, it goes back to our time that we spent in my coaching sessions with you, and just talking as friends over the last 6-7 years. I never really put it together, because I didn't want to fucking deal with it.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I remember sitting with you once a week for months and months. It would make sense, everything you're saying, but I didn't want to hear it. Like, I wouldn't let it click in my mind that there wasn't something I could physically do or say, and it wasn't actually her, it was actually me. And I didn't want to. I was like, nope. And then finally I had to, again, take a look in the mirror and be like, well, blaming her and blaming all these other circumstances and blaming everything else, bad luck or whatever you want to say, and maybe I was right about it, most things. It still didn't fix anything. No one felt any better. Actually, I felt worse.
It's interesting what you say, because I hear a lot of people say this actually. And then I also see it a lot, is taking in what you know to be true. Like you said, when we were talking, there are things, and not really wanting to grasp it, because it requires a massive change in your life.
Yeah.
And not for everybody and everything to change, but it's required of you to make a change. And that's very difficult when you're stuck in a thing and you don't want those things to change.
Right.
Because sometimes, unbeknownst to us, we have some addiction to that toxicity. You know what I mean? Like it gives you a thrill in a way, in a very dysfunctional way, but there's something to that. And for you, what was the straw that broke the camel's back for you that was like enough? Or have you even gotten there yet?
Well, I'm going back, and the things that you would we would be talking and coaching and saying, I knew they were right, but like when it comes down to it, if I'm being honest,
Yeah.
like I'm all about putting words into action. That's kind of my thing. And I don't thankfully, I don't have a problem with that in comparison to some people. But
Okay.
I didn't want to let her go.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I didn't. I was like, if I do those things
You have to
for
let
myself,
her go.
that means this relationship's really over and I have to let her go.
Right.
And I wasn't willing to do that.
And there's the thing too. It wasn't even that you had to let her go, but we're going to be required of you to see certain things about yourself.
Right.
And in return of that, of you growing, of you self-loving and doing work for yourself, it may have the result of that may have made you see her different.
Right.
So it wasn't like, oh, you have to let this person go, but changing might see her different and she may not be a fit for you. Right. And I think I see this a lot with people who have addiction with substance, like a couple that I know, they have addiction to alcohol. The woman thinks that the guy has more of a problem because he drinks more and he has more adverse effects from the alcohol, but she cannot let go of it either. The thing is, for him to go and get rehab means that he might change and leave her. So she hinders him from actually getting rehab.
Right.
And there's such a codependence to that relationship, even though they both see that there's a problem. The help requires them to possibly see each other differently and then in turn leave each other. So it's like, in a way, there's like this weird addiction to the dysfunction. There's an attachment and a belief system that says that this dysfunction is something you deserve. Did you feel that way at all?
Like I said, it doesn't feel good to say it, but that's exactly what was going on. And I couldn't really pinpoint it the way you put it. And that's how I would describe it. If if you asked me right now, I didn't have to because you just did. But yeah, I couldn't really pinpoint it, but that was what was going on, and I had to break that. And thankfully, she was stronger in recognizing that than I was.
Do you think so?
Yeah, because that I always wanted to reunite and reconcile, and I had the power to do that. And I would do that, and she wouldn't, because of, I'd like to think because of that, but I would just force it. I just make shit happen like I do.
So would you say that it's fair to say that in reality that this is over because she forced it out for you? Because you still seem hurt and it still seems like it's painful for you.
Yeah.
And in a way, there's parts of it, if I may say, that maybe you're kind of secretly hoping she's watching, kind of thing, to hear things. Do you feel that way?
I used to be honest with you, because I used to think, oh, if she hears something from someone else or sees things from not coming from me, that maybe it would click in her head.
Yeah.
But no, it's not. I
have so been there.
I don't believe that. I used to believe that. So no, if she's watching or watches any of this in the present or future at any time, I don't think it's going to really make any kind of anything.
And maybe it shouldn't.
It maybe
right.
Maybe,
not for the two of you, maybe not at this time anyway.
Yeah, for whatever reasons, like you said, I still think it's more of a timing thing with us. We have the connection, nothing like I've had. That's why I held on to it for so long.
But it's a matter of deciding what was the connection.
Right.
And I say this because I empathize with you, because I've been there.
Yeah.
I've talked about it several times on this show. And I would go to church, I would go to counseling, I would do whatever it would take to try to heal me, but secretly hoping that that person would get the message and that they would change, And because when you love and you love with everything you have, it's really hard to let that person go. Even if everybody can tell you this is not good, this does not make sense, you need to walk away from this, is not healthy.
And I knew.
But your heart wants what it wants, right?
Yeah.
And so what I had to learn was, when I say there was a connection, what was I really, truly connected to? And the reality was, it was not a love connection that I called it. It was just that there was a familiar dysfunction. I was connected to everything emotionally that I'd experienced to someone who experienced the same thing just in a different way.
Right.
And we were connected dysfunctionally. And I had to really come to terms with that to say the connection feels strong because it's deep rooted in pain.
Fair.
You know?
Fair.
And really having to disassociate that from what love really is and what that was for me and for my life.
Right.
And what I was deserving of. Because also another reason why I attracted that kind of love was because I didn't think I was deserving of something better. Would you say that you've connected any of those dots for you, or do you feel like it was something different?
All those dots, but like you said, I had to, I could have reconnected at really any time and didn't really have to separate the last time we did. It was me. It was my doing.
Okay.
Is time for you to move out, back out. Unless you, like you said, this is not, you hate this. I can't stand this. You're making my life miserable. I can't function. Everything I do is not upsets you, and that's not really it shouldn't be like that really at all with anyone, especially every day. There's something that I do, or anyone, like you said, regardless of who you are.
Right.
There should be, that should never happen. Maybe once a couple times a year, where it's like someone does something that has really nothing to do with you that makes you feel bad inside. I was like, if I'm doing that to you every day, time to go. You're doing that to me every day. You're making me feel like shit about myself. And that's not what relationships should be about. There shouldn't be, it shouldn't be every day, every other day. It shouldn't even be every month.
No, but it shouldn't be about that. But if you're someone who's always trying to prove yourself, then the relationship makes sense. Because in that realm, you have to always prove yourself.
And that's what I did. That's everything, like, oh, well, let me try this for years and years, for 6.5 years. If I do this and make this change, then she'll be happy with me.
Right.
And I had to realize that I failed in that, because that's not the thing you could do, because I'd make fucking magic happen and move mountains, and it didn't make anything better. And I was in denial about that. I was like, wow, look at what I did, and it didn't change anything on her side. I was
so
like,
what's
okay,
the
now
lesson?
we'll be good.
What did you learn from that?
That it can't be about your life or relationship. It can't just be about someone else.
Right.
And it was all about proving myself to her that I was good enough instead of proving it to me.
That's
what I want to hear from you. I didn't want to hear that from you. So
it makes me sad, because I know that you're still feeling that. You know what I mean? And I think that you being vulnerable, talking here, and allowing it to be raw and real says so much about you as a person, as a man. And I think that a lot of people could watch this and say, you know what, me too. Because I've always said this to you over and over again, is that you are enough, to everybody that knows it. But it's just that you can't see us. You can't see the people that see you, that you're enough. Because you're trying to. You didn't.
No, nothing anyone said or did. Like, look at you. That's amazing. It wouldn't mean shit to me. Like, only if she could see me like that, when I would even hear it. I'm like, but doesn't matter what you think. It only matters what she thinks, how she sees me. So let me figure out a way for her to see me like that, so things can work out.
But a person who cannot see themselves as enough have a hard time seeing anybody else that sees them as enough.
And that's what I refuse to accept.
Right. Because it's you two emotionally battling with the same problem, the same disease of not being enough.
Yeah.
So no matter what you poured into her, if she didn't feel she was enough, she couldn't see it. No different than your friends pouring into you and you can't see us.
Right.
And so you've got two blind people trying to lead through a pathway that they've never been on before. And that was never going to be something you could fix.
No.
Because you didn't have the capacity to do it for yourself.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
No, it's exactly how shit played out.
And I know when we battle, when that's our state of mind, when that's our mantra, I'm not enough, whether we do it at the forefront or subconscious in our mind, we constantly put ourselves in situations trying to feed that and trying to fill it up, right?
True.
I'm going to do everything to be enough. I'm going to prove to people that I'm enough. I'm going to show that I'm enough. But if you don't believe it, nothing you will do will ever
always be on
enough.
on that tip.
So how
Always
does that
be on that.
how does that change for you now?
Well,
Are you learning to open yourself up to that possibility that you are enough? And how do you do that?
I feel like I have. And I talk a lot, but I back it all up.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that's why I say that I have, because I could have reconnected and gone back to the same pattern in that relationship, or I've had opportunities with others. Is I brought that
Energy
same,
back,
in with someone else,
Mm-hmm.
and I could have kept any of those things going, and I said, "Fuck no," for the first time,
Mm.
and I feel like that was a test. The last one didn't last very long, but I brought the exact same energy in
Yeah.
someone, different person, different thing, but it felt familiar,
Mm.
and I was like,
You're like, uh-oh, red flags.
I knew, and like you said, lasted about 2 months, and I was like, no, this is when I knew that she didn't give a fuck about me, and it was the same toxic nonsense and manipulation, all this stuff that I ran away from, and
So why
I
do you
was just
think you
done,
attracted that energy again?
because that's what I thought I was worth.
Mm. You know, that's you're saying this stuff and we're having this like kind of like whatever conversation.
Yeah,
But I guarantee you people are there's a lot of people that can relate to exactly what you're saying.
I hope so, because this doesn't feel too good,
Yeah, but it's empowering for you to
Right, that's the purpose.
to be
like,
so honest and to be so vulnerable.
I'd rather just talk with you in private, or I have a lot of people that have really helped me along the ways, coaches, mentors, and friends, and so they're invaluable. But if I didn't do this, then I don't know. It'd be something left on the table, and I think that would be wrong for me.
So how are you feeling now? And in terms of many things, because you've made some radical shifts in your life.
Yeah.
You were with a mortgage broker for a long time.
Yeah.
That's how you and I met, actually.
Yeah.
And they were supportive and great people, and they were important to your career and stuff. But there was time and place for you to move on. And so right now you're doing a lot of moves. You're making a lot of moves, relationship wise,
Yeah.
career wise, and things like that. And all of that can feel great and uncomfortable at the same time because there are radical shifts in your life. So how are you feeling? How are you managing all of these new things in your life?
You can only, manage things that are out of your control to some degree. That's what I used to try and control shit. And I had to, I know when I'm on the right path with something, when I don't fucking like it and it doesn't feel good. It's uncomfortable. I know I'm on the right track. When people, and also with that internally, and then the external confirmation is which has happened to me most of my life, but especially, like I said, the last 7 years, when I really made a complete shift on how I was going to live my life.
Mm-hmm.
When people tell me that something can't be done or it'll never happen, I know they're completely full of shit, and they're just projecting onto me what they don't see in themselves.
Right.
I know I'm on the right track.
Right.
And then I double down. That's my outside confirmation. When not someone tells me I can, when people are like, no. And most of the time it's in a nice way.
But for you, where are you at emotionally? Forget about them.
Yeah.
Like you, I mean, like
I'm at, like you said, things are uncomfortable. Things are scary.
But they're exciting at the same time,
It is.
right? But I know that it's scary.
Of.
Why is it scary? What's the scary part about it? Is it because it's different?
The unknown is scary to all individuals, if they're being honest.
Yeah.
I was at one place for 19 years, almost half my life, and I'm 42, and it's a long fucking time. Most people don't stick with things for 9 weeks, let alone 19 years.
Right.
They don't. And I'm not judging. I was that guy. So, but that's, like you said, scary. I posted when I officially left and launched, my new brokerage. I'm, the division president of, and growing something that's never been done before.
Mm-hmm.
Scary.
Yeah.
Can I do it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
People think I can't. No, that's why I know it's going to work. And so if everyone's like, "Oh yeah, this is home run. You got this shit," I'd be like,
So
I
why
think
do
I made
it?
the wrong
What
choice.
was the deciding factor for you to take the leap of faith on this? Because I know you've been approached with many opportunities.
I have
over the years. I know that. So for this time, at this point in your life, you decided to.
I need to do the right thing.
Okay.
I should have taken other opportunities. I believe in the past. I don't regret anything because I can't change that shit. I don't regret my relationship that's 6 and it didn't work out. I wouldn't actually change anything because I can't. And that's a exercise in futility. And so now that I knew I did this because I finally acquired the courage to believe in myself the way that other people did and not believe the bullshit that I told myself, but was reinforced by my ex and several dozens of people that I looked to that wanted approval from and acceptance from.
So you quieted that noise in a way.
Yeah.
The noise has been silenced.
I basically got it out of my head and basically in my mind told them to go fuck themselves. And then we'll see what I can do.
So is this a matter of you trying to prove something to them or to yourself?
No, it's always about proving to her, proving to him, proving to everyone that I was what I said and thought I was. Now now it's just for me. That's why I didn't take those opportunities in the past. And I just was like, oh, I was scared. So I just stayed where I was comfortable. I don't feel comfortable at all. Yes, it's exciting. I'm going to come through. I've been empowered by myself and others, my partners. That's why I went with them. They want to empower me and not control me. And that's the whole problem in the real estate industry. At least I don't want to speak to anything else because I don't know in comparison to anything else. But I know this business. I've been in 19 years. I started when I was 8, when my father and grandfather started having me dig foundations for homes that they were building, and they built an empire, built 31,000 homes over 31 years in this state. And I had 12 years with watching that, and I was finally like, no one can say that. No one. Doesn't make me a better individual. We share the same humanity.
Right.
But I was listening to Tony Robbins a few months ago, and he said we're all equal souls, but we're not all equal in the marketplace.
That's true.
We're not.
Right.
And I used to feel bad about being able to do shit that other people couldn't do, or being this or being that. And I said, oh well, I used to justify I need to put a kind of dampen that light to kind of fit in so that they wouldn't react poorly and I could not deal with it. But that's where all my anxiety and all my bullshit came from.
Yeah.
And so
you're just trying to please people
right
all the time, or you're trying to impress people all the time. I mean, when you don't feel like you're enough and you're trying to paint a facade that you are, it's exhausting. You will drain yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the irony to all of it is, while we're out there projecting that we've got it all together and we're enough and look at how big and great and whatever we are, a lot of people are feeding that and wanting to be that and looking up to that because they are not feeling enough. And so we're all have a responsibility to portray the right message. And that's why I think it's important for you, and I think it's honorable of you to get here today and to talk about the other side of what that facade is. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are looking up to people like yourself and saying, I want to be like that, or I aspire to be like that. But they need to also understand that this human being struggles. And part of this persona was built and leveraged off of not feeling like he was enough.
It's true.
And so now for you, branching off and doing things that make you feel vulnerable when the people that you really cared about were your biggest naysayers. True. And really trying to prove this to oneself now. And not only that, but to prove it to the right people, right? Because I feel like we always are still trying to prove things to people. And I am just as much a part of that. I don't particularly care what a lot of people think of me, but I do care about the right people and what they think of me. The people that have substance in my life, the people that add value to my life, if they provide me an opportunity, I care what they think.
Yeah, and
but only they get reign over that, right? My son, I care what he thinks.
Right.
We have people that I love with that I know that care about me, I care what they think. But I've had to really let go of trying to prove myself to the people that see less than of me, because it's not my problem.
Yeah, I feel like we have everything to prove to the right people, and to give two fucks should about everyone else.
But here's the thing too, Jeremy. I mean, the people that care about us, they don't even really need us to prove it. They already believe in us, right?
No, that's true.
And this is the thing. You are in a position now where someone saw your potential and they're putting your potential to work. They are not worried about what other people think. They say, I see potential in this person and I'm going to put his potential to work. And because you are ethical and you are a person who wants to prove to somebody, you're not going to let them down.
Right.
And I hope you know that, even though it's scary.
No, I do. The truth of it, and I'm here to completely bring down the whole corrupt temple down on its head, and I'm going to.
For what?
Because it's the wrong way of doing business. Like I said, back to my roots. I've seen how business is done and seen this town grow and how real estate's done, and it's changed. It's not how it should be.
Let me ask you a question. Could you bring the whole temple down and all the corruptness and burn it all down, or could you be that beam of light that does it a different way? Could you prove it that way instead?
Do both. Because no house is built on a shaky foundation.
So you're like the big bad wolf now? So you're gonna go huff and puff and blow their houses down?
Not to blow it down. It's already in shambles.
But so when you say that, because now we're going down a different direction. But what is that fueled by? Are you bitter? Are you angry about something?
I'm not bitter. I want to make shit right.
Okay.
I want to make shit right.
But does making shit, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Does making shit right mean I need to corrupt and burn those people down, or does making shit right
anyone down?
Okay.
Or
because you say it like there's something going on.
There is, and I'm going to get to I'm going to get to the system and the structure in itself is not good. It's not the way it should be.
Are you referencing real estate then?
Yes.
The market. Okay.
Yes. So I'm not referencing an individual or a company.
I'm not saying you are.
Yeah, no, I just want to be clear. People draw, clear. It's the lawyer in me. People can draw inferences from things I say. I want to be very clear about that. Because of my experience, the long time from a child and having amazing people that did it right and continue to do that around me my whole life, I can see very clearly what's wrong and why it's structurally the system. That's why I'm going to burn it all to the ground, and not in a negative way. You have to, in order, like you said, to put a song lyric, in order to build it up, you have to burn it down to ashes. You can't have a shaky foundation
you have to start,
and build on top of that.
And I'm going to assume here that you mean by starting with you. Because listen,
yes,
in order for me to come over new, I had to burn my own stuff down.
That was
my old
journey.
Thinking, my own old relationships that I was carrying, the negative beliefs, all of that. I had to set fire to all of those things that were limiting me.
And that's
then
what
I had to build me in order for me to be able to sit on a platform like this, or to talk to people, or to counsel people, or to coach people. Yeah. I had to work on me. I had a coaching business back in 2014, right? Years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I had all of these clients and all of these things, but my world was falling apart personally. And I felt like a fraud. I felt like, how am I here coaching these people when I haven't got my own stuff together? So I shut down the shop. I literally burned up my business. Not literally, but figuratively burned it up, right? I got rid of everything.
I think that's a good thing.
Told my clients I can't coach them any longer, et cetera, et cetera. And I had to do some work. And so, and that's what I did. And it took years for me to finally say, okay, I'm ready again. Now, do I have it all together? No. But am I open to be transparent about that? Absolutely. But do I have a better grip on things that I can coach people appropriately? Yes, I do. So I say all of that to say to you, when you reference the whole thing, it's got to start with you.
It did. And
so is it starting with you?
That's what took me so long.
Okay.
Because I didn't have my own house in order, so how can I have anyone else to tell anyone else's?
Fair enough.
That's why I waited so long.
Okay.
And it wasn't anyone's doing but me, because I wouldn't deal with X or I wouldn't deal with Y, and it all went back to me.
Yeah.
And so I have, and that's why I know I will make this happen. And I'm gonna lead. My whole life I've led by example.
Okay.
And sometimes it hasn't worked out, but I feel like that's much more powerful than anything I could say. I see is a huge problem in this industry is people men and women sit on their thrones, they're kings and queens, and they tell their subjects to go out there and be somebody and do this and do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I'm without an ego. Say I'm I'm not like that. I'm a warrior king. I go first and ask you to follow me once I show you the way. And I don't ask you to do anything as an agent or anyone in this business that I don't do myself, and I don't do every day, and I don't do first to show you the way. And so we've lost that. We've lost that in this business. Yes, there's bright, shining stars everywhere. I could point them out for another hour. But the 99% are not like that. It's ruining this industry.
So we've shifted gears quite a bit from this conversation.
We can go back.
We went way left. Okay, but I mean, we've got a few more minutes here.
Yeah.
Where is that? Is that going to be the new fuel for your fire? Is that what's going to move you forward? Is that what you're going to use as leverage to kind of get from the old into the new? I mean, because this is something that sounds like you're passionate about.
I've
known
this
your
for
way
7
of contribution.
Yeah. I've seen this for 7 years, and I've been trying to, he said, get my own house in order.
Yeah.
In order to.
And why is that important for you to set the market straight, so to speak?
Because I believe that's best for the industry. It's best for I don't care about the 355 brokers there are in this city or nationally. I care about the 18,000 agents. I do.
Yeah.
I'm an agent. I like this business. I like the people in the business. It is a people business. No matter how these Zillow or realtor.com or anything, these outside tech, chat GBT and AI try and take this out and take our brains out of this shit. This is we make money using our minds and leveraging our relationships in a good way. And I don't want that to go out the window. I think that's the problem. So
is that where Jeremy is today? Because I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
When we are in hurt and pain and sorrow, and we've had a deal of suffering, right? And you referenced Tony Robbins, and one of the favorite things that I love that he says is that we have a choice to suffer. Suffering is a choice, right? And you mentioned that were suffering. And the saying goes like this: pain is inevitable for life, right? And I'm not quoting him verbatim, but pain is inevitable. Suffering is a choice. And pain is, this is what I thought my life was going to be, and it didn't turn out that way. Right. That's painful. Suffering is when you say the same thing. This is what I thought my life was going to be, and it didn't work out that way, and I feel powerless. That is suffering because that's a choice.
Right.
What I have learned from my own pain and suffering is that the greatest way to overcome is to give myself the greatest fulfillment, which is contribution and growth.
Yeah.
And what I hear you saying to leverage the pain and the suffering that you've gone through is like you're finding a way to be a contributor.
Yeah.
And I can say that if you take this on to really be an advocate and a voice or an ambassador, if you will, for agents out there, so that way they can have whatever you feel they should have, then you can be a contributor. As long as you don't fuel it with any type of bitter animosity or anything like that.
No, I want to fix shit.
Good.
And I feel like there's a problem. I want to give agents an option. So at least, like I said, there's an example. Oh, here's the X model of how real estate's done for the 99%. Well, here's the 1% or less that are doing it a different way. And then people can make their own choices.
Okay.
That's what I want to give that option. There's no option right now. Well, now there is, now that I've launched my divisions and my team.
So is that what this new endeavor that you're in, is that primarily what you're going to be doing?
That's the whole purpose about it, is that where you're solely focused on building your business and not training you in a classroom as a realtor in any kind of way. Because logically speaking, what does it matter how great a realtor you are if you have no clients? It doesn't matter. If you have no business, that comes first. We've had this conversation. So
yeah, you and I did.
Build that first. That's what I'm solely focused on. Almost every other brokerage, almost, not all, but definitely 99% bring you in and they train you in a classroom on how to be a realtor. And people fall by the wayside because they don't train them how to bring in the business. The real estate training comes when I started 19 years ago, came after I had the business. Then I got mentored, and then I got learned by experience, and then I had questions, and I got the realtor training, and then those questions flew out the window. Then I had another transaction.
Personally, I mean, I'm going to be, again, devil's advocate here. Personally, I do love the classroom stuff, but I go there with
you have business.
Well, not yes and no. I mean, everybody has business.
Not everybody.
They do. They just don't know how to tap into their business.
They
all have access to business, but not everybody knows how to tap in, right?
That's what I'm focused on.
For me, when I go into a classroom setting, I go in there with intentions to learn. and I want to take as much value out of that. And so because I go in with that intention,
Right.
then I learn because I am building, I do real estate as well.
Yeah.
So for me, I take advantage of everything that I can learn, whether it's in the classroom, out in the field, or through great people. Success leaves clues. So I always follow the people who are dropping the
Right.
clues. And learning those things so I can fundamentally create a business and not work real estate like a hobby where it's one deal here and there.
Right.
No, I want this to be a machine, and I have to
Exactly.
learn those things. And sometimes it does require me to go to a classroom.
Yeah, I have no problem with the classroom setting, so I want to be clear with that.
Yeah.
I'm saying most people learn by getting the experience for the most part. You already have experience, so then the classroom education is a supplement that's helping you grow even more.
Right.
If you only went to a classroom to look for all your answers to grow your business, I tell you straight to your face, I love you to death, been friends for years, that you're fucking wrong. That's crazy.
Would you use that adjective?
Yeah, I would, because that's how I am. I try to tamp it down for your audience, but
really, you've been doing such a great job.
I know. Well,
Says no
me,
one
I've
ever.
reduced it.
I'm just kidding.
No, I'm just
Not
saying,
kidding.
like, I would. That's what I believe, and that's, like I said, it's not a personal thing. It's that you're teaching agents and prioritizing agents to grow their business comes first, and then the realtor stuff that you only need, it's cause and effect. If you have no clients and no business, all this training in classroom or whatever doesn't go to.
And I guess again,
nothing.
I'm playing devil's advocate here. Okay, I was a medic. I went to school to be EMT, so I had to learn in a classroom all things EMT, emergency medical technician.
Right.
That's what I was learning to be. Now, it wasn't in the textbook is one thing. Going into real life and having people that are dying in front of you and it's critical is a different thing.
Yes.
But had I not went to a classroom and learned and was given tools, then I would have sucked in my experience. People would have lost their lives because of that.
True.
So I think it's a yin and a yang. I think it both goes hand in hand. I think that and it also depends on the individual, of course, and where they are in their experiences in life. I happen to have a sales background. I've built businesses, so I have some fundamentals already there. But I do believe that people who know nothing at all need to hear something first and apply it to experience. But they got to put there's a Bible quote that says faith without work is dead, right? And so I believe that in everything. It's one of my favorite sayings is because I can have the faith to be a thing, but I also have to put the work into it. So if I have faith, I show up and I learn and I get educated. And then I have to put that education into practice. Otherwise, it's not effective. And I think that a lot of people that I see out there, realtors, especially now that I'm going into this business full time, I'm thinking, first of all, they're not going and get educated. They're not learning. They just think they're going to, be cute on a social media post.
Right.
And that there's going to get them clients because they're attractive. But it's like you're transacting deals, big dollars, thousands upon hundreds of thousands of dollars. Your pretty face has got to work a little bit harder than that. You have to apply yourself and gain knowledge. Because I'll tell you, the most powerful part of my business is the fact that I'm educated in it. And the more I know and the more I understand, the more the people believe in me to run those transactions with me. So I think they both work hand in hand.
I agree. And so to build on that, I want to train agents on part of how to procure buyers, sellers, investors, which that starts with that as far as I'm concerned, no matter what, is having knowledge. That's a part of being able to procure clients.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to say, you just, throw out the baby with the bathwater. But I'm saying there's a purpose to it.
That's a funny
experience. Or as my grandmother used to say that. So I'm saying, but I still stand firm is that if you're using knowledge theoretically with nowhere to apply it, I'm not about that.
Yeah.
I'm about taking what you learn and you wanting to learn and applying it in order to grow your business. And that's, like you said, and that's where the knowledge
it's all
should be
about
applied.
having the desire.
Yeah, it's all desire when it comes down to it. But the structure has to be there. If I've been doing something for 20 years and I tell you your business is going to work out because come join here where you get to keep 100%. Well, what's 100% of nothing? You do the math. I get a beautiful office. Amazing office. I saw this new office that opened up recently. I was like, oh my God, it's so dope. And you go around people, everyone likes to talk. It's my general rule of thumb. I've told you this. All unsolicited information is always bullshit. It's if I come to you, I'm like, oh my God, Lorraine, I am making so much money. I don't know what to do with it. Let's get the jet.
Right.
I'm popping bottles and fucking models. Like it means I'm broke and I live in my mom's basement. It always does.
Sometimes.
No, it
And
always
sometimes
does.
you have the money and you're just unfulfilled, right?
Oh no, it's saying if you ask me, hey,
Yeah.
Jeremy, how are you doing with your business and financially? Almost 100% of the time, studies, you're going to get the truth. But if I just tell you without you even asking or wanting
Right.
to know,
No, I understand what you mean.
I'm a liar.
Yeah, totally.
It's the opposite of what's going on.
Yeah.
And so that's the facade, and people don't know because they're brand new or they're
Or sometimes people are going broke because they're trying to prove themselves because they don't feel that they're enough. And that brings full circle to what we've been talking about in the beginning. And none of that really matters. It doesn't really pertain to what you and I came here today to talk about anyway.
No.
But we are concluding. We're at our conclusion mark.
Fair
I
enough.
like how you light up, first of all, let me say this, when you start to talk about things that you're passionate about. And you have this, and of course I like to play devil's advocate because that's what I do. But I still love that you are passionate about what you want to do. Your intentions for helping agents out is powerful, and that you light up when you talk about these things and where you can contribute to helping people.
Yeah.
And I think that when you light up like that, that shows me that at least in that space, you know that you're enough, because you wouldn't light up the way that you light up if you didn't know that you were the man for the job.
Yeah.
So I would say for you, having gone through all the stuff that you've gone through, all the heartache, all of the craziness, all the ups and downs, and many different aspects. There's other aspects of your life that we haven't even tapped into.
Right. A lot
that I know personally from you.
Yeah.
But for you to be where you are today, like I've always said to you, you've never let anyone, even though maybe you feel that way, get in your way. You've always stayed the course for yourself.
You're right.
When no one was posting videos and no one was doing all that stuff, you didn't care that they laughed at you or they thought you were a fool. I know people who have said to me, I will never get on a video with him. That is so stupid what he's doing. And now they are lining up in your videos. Literally, I've seen those people that have said that to me. And I see them wanting to be in your videos. So I say kudos to you.
Thank you.
And I hope that you keep going and keep striving and keep focusing on your light and not your darkness. So what do you want to say to the people out there that have been through very similar things of not feeling like they're enough and getting trapped into bad situations because of that negative belief system?
That I've been there, and it's really difficult, but it was really all about me. It wasn't about anyone else. It was about me. So I would leave with anyone to say, don't make it about anything or anyone else. Make it about you and you'll figure it out. That's what I want to impress upon all people and agents in this business and everyone, is that I was always focused on how to do something. And I was fucking wrong. I had everything backwards. I needed to figure out as soon as I did what I wanted to do with my life. Who am I? Like Deepak Chopra, who the fuck am I?
Deepak doesn't say that though.
He doesn't say it like that. He's like, ask yourself these questions. He doesn't. He says a much nicer. Who am I? Why do I exist?
Right.
That's pretty deep. I never really did that. And I would challenge everyone with like, what do you want to do? Forget with your business, with your whole life. What is it? Figure out something you actually want, not because Billy from the store said so, or your mom, or your wife, your husband, whoever. It doesn't matter who it. Not because they told you to.
Right.
But you want to. What? There's something. Find the what, and then why behind it. He said, I appreciate it. Like I actually believe in some shit, you know, and now I believe in myself to back it up, and that's where the power comes from. Is like I know why I want to do what I want to do, and once you have those two things, the how is the process. You don't know the how. Everyone wants to get to the end first and then work their way back.
Very true.
And so that's what I did. It was a huge mistake and it ruined my life. Don't do that. If you're like, don't do that. Don't learn from me. Don't go through it yourself. Don't do that. Find the what and the why, and the how doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. Everything else will take care of itself. It will take care of itself. When you
understand why you have to do a thing and you're compelled by it, the how will just show up.
Yeah, if you stick with it, for better or for worse with me, things I've done I stick with them and I don't quit
Yeah.
no matter what. Everyone falls by the wayside. No matter, they say the talk is cheap. I've actually backed it up. As much as I talk, I backed it all up. And that's how I know I have what
Well,
I know what I want and why.
You are a perseverer and you are persistent, right? Whether it's in love, whether it's in your work world, whether it's you and your friendships, you are someone who persists. And not everyone's ever going to get that about you. Not everyone's going to stay along the ride, but you don't quit. And so I'm very proud of you for where you are today. And so tell people how they can get a hold of you. Agents out there who are listening, who are like, you know what, I need someone who's an advocate for me. Yeah. How do they get a hold of you, Jeremy?
Yeah, if you're looking for a different culture and a different way, it's a place where there's, accountability and responsibility that leads to leadership in yourself and with others, I would love for you to come sit down with me. I'm the new division president, the real estate division president at the Boakley Group, and I got the keys to the car. I have 5 divisions I've created, and you can reach out to me at Jeremy Lewis, Vegas Realtor, and I think they'll put the handle on here.
Yeah.
You can reach out to me on my Facebook. You'll see just Jeremy Lewis on Facebook. You can email me. It's the same as my handle, Jeremy Lewis Vegas Realtor at Gmail, if you want to email me. But it's very easy to get a hold of me on. It's me. It's not someone else. It's not an assistant. Anything I do, I post, I say comes from me. It's not edited or managed or any of that. And I don't believe in any of that, quite personally. So if you message me, it's going to be me. Come in, see what it's about. I would love to build your business and your career and really I think at least for me, it changed my whole life, not just my business. My personal life changed and my social life did for the better is when I got my business.
Focus on self.
Yeah, self, and saw the right thing to do in the business with my business, even though everyone was doing the opposite. And so I persisted where everyone else quit, and I didn't know if it was going to work out. I really didn't. So if you're scared, it means you're on the right track.
Yeah.
If you're not sure, it's uncomfortable, call me. Yeah, I've been there. I'm continuing to be there. If everything feels easy and the same and you feel stuck, you need to call me. You need to reach out to me even more, because it means you're not growing. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
You just need some guidance.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. You need to get it. Step out like I did, Faith. I'll leave it with this. Before my meeting to tell my brokers and friends of 28 years, I was with them 19 years. I almost threw up before that meeting. I was physically ill. And anyone who knows me or even sees my on social media, I'm a pretty confident guy. I've seen it all. I've been there.
But you were
done
nervous
that.
to walk away.
And like I said, I'm a middle-aged man, but I literally
You're not quite middle-aged yet. You're only 42. Well, slow down there, cowboy.
Almost. I'll take it. I'm a young man, but still, I was physically ill and I almost threw up. I was that terrified.
But you did it.
But I had to, instead of just cancel it or like, oh, wait till tomorrow. I used to be that guy, and there is no tomorrow. You got to do this for yourself, not for me, not for you, not for anyone else.
But for yourself.
Do some shit for yourself, and it's always going to work out if you do.
It will. Well, thank you, Jeremy.
Thanks.
I appreciate you so much, and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
You're a friend of mine, so it means a lot to me that you've come this far, and you didn't come this far to get this far, right?
No,
there's a lot left in you. So
no, I've only just begun. I'm just getting warmed up.
I'm very proud of you.
All the cliches, all the pejoratives.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, like you said, I'm gonna do some big shit, and I have.
Well,
and
we'll have you back in another 15 months to see just how far you've come.
I can't wait to see what's happened. It's gonna be an exciting time.
Well, thank you, and thank you all out there for watching another episode of the Mindsetters. And until next time, don't forget to subscribe. Ciao.
We'll see you.